Good morning, students. I hope you didn't forget what we have seen in the previous class. Any doubts in the previous session? Anyone?
No,
You
ma'am.
at least at least remember what we saw, or you completely forgot?
Remember.
Completely forgot.
Hadi, yes? What? Be a little louder.
Remember, ma'am. Clear everything.
Good for you. Alright, we'll start with today's class. Everybody who is there in the class, I want to tell again, please make sure you have your notes and pen with you. You are going to do the derivation and you are going to tell me the answer. Alright, this is going to be a completely interactive session and solution will be from your side, not mine. Okay, you have to remember that. Okay, keep your notes ready. I'm going to share my screen now. Right, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. If I'm not wrong, we have stopped our presentation at 3D model, I mean 3D element and its displacement. Right. Today we'll start with a new topic. This topic comes under methodology only. In the previous case, we saw how the methodology is considered for 1D element, for a 2D element and a 3D element. Alright. Now under methodology, we have three important things to be taken into account. Alright. What are those three important things is that we are going to see today. Alright. So our first session will be stress equilibrium equations. Stress equilibrium equations, if you should be already finishing it by your second year, yeah, probably by second year you must have finished this. Your stress equilibrium equations, principal stresses, principal strains, strain displacement equations, all these comes in your second year itself in strength of materials or solid mechanics or whatever subject you had. Now, that stress equilibrium equations we are going to consider in finite elements so that we can derive how the nodes or the member is going to react when it is subjected to any specific load. Alright. Please let me know if there is any lag or any blurriness or anything in the screen. Alright. You can raise your hand. Alauddin sir will allow you to talk. Okay. All right. Now let's go forward. Here we have an irregular body. All right. In the field, there is always not a possibility that you will find a regular shape of structures in this. That is why we are just trying to take an irregular body. Now, if this irregular body is subjected to various types of stresses or loads, if we see there is a load here, there is a load here. Some are compressive, some are tensile, and here specifically we are seeing a part of the surface of the member is subjected to force called T. Now what is this is we'll see. Suppose we will consider that this specific body what we are considering is of volume V and it has a surface S. Surface in the sense we are trying to consider the surface area. Alright. Now this T what we are talking about is the traction force, that is a force that is acting about a finite surface. Excuse me. And finally, if at all there is any, who is that? I insist, please everyone keep yourself muted. If you unmute yourself, I will get disturbed. please keep yourself muted. Alauddin sir, please mute कर दीजिए जो भी unmute करके बात कर रहा है.
Yes, yes, madam. I'm doing that. Whenever it come, I'm muted.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, let's continue. Now, there is some traction force. Suppose now in the figure we are not seeing any specific point load, but if at all there is a point I anywhere, and we will think that there is a point load Pi is also acting at that point. See, a surface or a body or a structure can be applied to any kind of loading. The loading can be at once or individually. All right. Now, how do we actually understand what is the stress behavior of that? That is what is analysis. All right. When we talk about analysis, it means we are trying to find out either what is the deformation in that, what is the displacement in that, or what is the stress is produced in the member, or what is the strain constraint. All these categories come under analysis part. Now, in this complete structure, figure, so surface, body, whatever we have, what we will do is we will take a finite cubical body, 3D cube structure. All right, 3D structure, 3D element. We are calling it as a 3D element. 3D element, and we are going to define equations or define stresses for this 3D element. And we will try to consider this 3D element will be applicable to various parts depending upon the boundary conditions. That is what we are trying to do. All right. I want you to draw a 3D figure like this. All right. In your notes, please make sure you draw this 3D body, and X, Y, Z direction can be anything. Here in the figure, it is given X horizontal, Y vertical. Based on the right hand rule, you can consider any orientation. All right. This can be X, this can be Y, this can be Z, anything. But all the three should be perpendicular is the point. All right. Please draw this figure, and after you finish, you'll give me a yes, please. Any one S would be enough. Are we done?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. One yes. Good. All right. We'll go forward. Now, for this 3D element, how are we going to take down the stress equilibrium equations, or how are we going to derive the stress equilibrium equations is what we are trying to see. All right. Now, for that load, what all are the components we are taking into consideration is coming in the points. Please note down the points. All right. If at all you may not write the whole sentence, but make sure you write the equation. All right. Now, under the force, the body deforms, and the deformation of the point P is given by three components. Look at this. We told this is our point P. We are taking point P as our center. Who is that? Guys, please keep yourself muted. Do not disturb. This derivation takes time, and you have to understand the derivation very clearly. Please do not keep disturbing like this. All right. See, this is the point P. is our point of consideration. Now at this point, if at all I'm trying to find out the displacement components, that displacement components we are taking it as in, because it is 3D, it will have the displacement components in all the three directions. That is what we saw in the previous class. So as displacement components, our u will be a component of u, v and w, all the three. All right, u in x direction, v in y direction, w in z direction. All right, first point, that is equation number 1. Second, distributed force per unit volume, that is body force. We can call this as body force also. All right, distributed force per unit volume, we are taking that as equation number 2, which is F is equal to x, y and z. All these are in matrix forms. Okay, I clearly insisted that when we are going into film, we are going to consider matrix type of analysis. All right, the next one, right, the body force acting on the elemental volume dV, the surface traction is given by, whatever the surface traction T we saw, that will be given by three components again. All right, one will be T in x direction, the other one will be T in y direction, and the other one is T in z direction. Are we done till now? Three equations. One is displacements in all the three directions, body force in all the three directions, traction force in all the three directions. Because the reason behind taking completely a 3D element is, once we define or derive for a 3D element, it would be easy for us to do for the 2D or 1D, rather than going for 1D first, 2D and then for the 3D. All right, reducing from 3 to 1 would be easier. All right, now we'll go for the next one. We thought there, if at all any point load will be acting at any point I, that also affects the body. So the point load P acting at a point I is represented by its three components as Px, Py, Pz of I point. We have to remember this one. Wherever the point load acts, this will be applicable at that point alone, not for the other points. That is because the whole surface is taking that load, but there is one specific point that is affected more due to that point load. So for that reason, we are specifying where that point is. All right. Now, the main point, all representations we saw till now, we saw what is displacement component, what is body force component, what is traction component, what is point load component. All these are the categories we saw. Now we'll come into what are the stresses acting in the element. This was actually done in your second year session, but you can understand that this would be a clear, little bit brief session. All right. Now this we know. What is this? These are the stresses acting on the elemental volume dV. What are those? We have sigma x, sigma y, sigma z, that is stresses in all the three directions, and tau yz, tau xz and tau yz. These are the stresses acting on the faces. Now these 6 stresses are not same, because these 3 are considered as normal stresses acting in the elemental cube, and these 3 are considered as shear stresses. All right. Now these shear stresses and normal stresses both are there in the member due to the applied loads. So when we have to derive an equation for the elemental volume to find out the stresses or the strains, we have to make sure that we will find out all the 3 stresses. All right. Now see, this is what is the figure. We took a complete body. From that, and elemental volume, x, y and z direction. This is how the normal stresses and the tensile stress, the shear stresses are represented. All right. Normal stresses act along the direction of our coordinates, shear stresses along the phases. Please take down this figure. Clearly mention which direction we are taking. I'll remove the annotations. Right. Take the figure very clearly, please. In x direction, we have sigma x. This is sigma, right? Sigma x, tau xz and tau xy. And in y direction, we have sigma y. And on the phase along y direction, we have tau xy and tau yz. And in z direction, normal stress, we have sigma z. And shear stress, we have tau zy and tau zx. Same as the previous case, one member can inform that the diagram is over.
Over, ma'am.
All right. I'll go forward. If anybody is there who are still drawing, let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry? What is it? All right. We'll go for the next one now. Now, let us consider the equilibrium of the elemental volume. Now, anyone unmute yourself and tell me what is equilibrium constraint. Anyone? See, you're in the final year, you cannot tell now what would be the equilibrium constraints or the equilibrium equations. No one?
Sigma h equal to 0, sigma v equal to 0, sigma m equal to 0.
Can you elaborate, please? I don't know what is H. I don't know what is V.
Algebraic sum of horizontal forces equal to 0.
Yes.
Algebraic sum of vertical forces equal to 0.
Yes.
Sum of moments equal to 0.
Okay. Thank you. That would be equilibrium equations when a 2D element is considered. All right. When we are going for the 3D element, because we have three coordinates, three directions, what we are going to see here is forces along x direction are 0. Algebraic sum of forces along y direction is 0. Algebraic sum of forces in z direction is 0. All right. That is what we are trying to see here. All right. Now, let us consider the equilibrium of the elemental volume. We get forces on the faces by multiplying the stresses with the corresponding areas. What does this statement mean? We are trying to get what are the forces. All right. So, how we can get the forces is, we know stress is equal to force by area, right? So, simply to get what is the force, what we are trying to do is area into our stress value will give us the force. All right. And what is the elemental volume we have here? dV we took. So, dx into dy into dz. That is what is the volume. Now, for this, please note down the equations what are seen now. Okay. First, algebraic sum of forces in x direction. All right. This is what is the algebraic sum of equations in the x direction. That is, in x direction, we have normal stress, we have two shear stresses and one body force. Based on this, will you be able to write down what is the algebraic sum of forces in y direction and z direction? Please go ahead. This is in the x direction. I said you what are the body force components of body forces in the previous slide. Whatever figure you drew in the second figure you drew, you can directly know in x direction whatever we have, in y direction what we have, z direction what we have. So it would be easy for us to note it down. So this is the algebraic sum of forces in x direction, which we are taking it as 0. This is the algebraic sum of forces in y direction, which we consider to be 0. And finally, algebraic sum of forces in z direction, which also we are considering it as 0. Please cross check whether you also have written the same equations or not. If not, please correct. 2 shear stresses and 1 normal stress. I need 1 yes after you finish writing this. I'm giving you enough time.
No.
Was that a yeah or is that a no? Please be clear.
No.
Okay, write it down. Make this as equation number 6 as a continuation of the previous equations, and this equations are called stress equilibrium equations. Writing 3 equations if you are taking so long.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll continue. Now, from in the methodology case, what we started today, first step was stress equilibrium equations, and this is the equation number 6 is the stress equilibrium equations. All right, we'll go for the second point. It is strain displacement equations. Strain displacement equation. Now, suppose for one phase of the cube, I'm taking dx and dy, one phase of the cube, if we think, is getting displaced. Right. See, one phase of the cube is getting displaced in this form. This is dx dy form. We are taking in x and y direction. One phase we are considering, and assuming that that member has undergone displacement and also deformation. If you see from this position, now here the new position of this starts from here, and there is a deformation in the angle alpha and alpha dash. All right. So that variations also, every small deformation also we have to take it into consideration to understand what is the relation between strain and the displacement. All right. And this one takes a time, but not an issue. Please note down the figure vaguely. Because where the differentiation of u comes, where the v comes, you should be able to understand. All right. Now, what is u and what is v is the displaced positions of the member. U is the displaced position, new origin, the coordinates of the new origin of the member. You can take a rough figure, that is fine. But whatever you write, the du by dou u by dou x into dx, the dx value, the dy value, those should be very clear, please. Please don't take so long, guys. Just a rough figure, but at least you should be able to get what are the values. Note down the values clearly. A rough figure would do.
Yes, ma'am, completed.
All right.
No,
Anyone?
ma'am. No, ma'am.
Sorry? Somebody
Not,
spoke?
not completed, ma'am.
Okay. I'll wait for 2 more minutes. Please do it. Please keep your calculators also ready. We are going to solve a small problem also today. Very little, very smaller one, but we are going to solve a problem. But from the next classes, I really think you should carry your calculators also when you are attending the FET class. All right, I'm going to continue. At the end, when there is about queries, I can leave the slides which you have you need to draw it. All right, I'm continuing. Right, now what did we see? We are considering every small deformations on the face dy dx. All right, this is the faces dy and dx. That is what I'm talking about. All right, considering we are going to get strains in this format. This is not new if I'm not wrong. As of the stresses, if you are considering the strains also, the phase will have all these strain parameters as of the stresses. Now this also has difference, right? Let us take this as equation number 7, and the first three epsilon x, epsilon y and epsilon z are normal strains. Gamma yz, gamma xz and gamma xy are shear strains. All right, now this is the equation for strains. In the stress equilibrium equations, we saw equations for stresses. These equation numbers are going to help us to find out finally the relation between stress and strain. Till now we saw stresses separately and strains separately. All right, now these strains are just indicating in respective directions, maybe in x direction what it is, in y direction what it is. All right, now if at all this strains have to be expressed in terms of displacement, because in the very first class of FEM we understood and we have spoke about this, that displacements are the basic unknowns for the solid mechanics. All right, now what we are trying to do is we are trying to express our strain parameters in terms of displacements. When we express in the basic unknowns, whatever is followed after that would be easy. See, if we have strains in terms of displacement, as displacement is the basic unknown, if we know the value of displacement, maybe through the experiment or maybe the given value or anything, if we know the displacement, because we will know the relation between displacement and strain, I can get the value of strain. Now, later on, we are going to find out what is the relation between stress and strain. So, because from the displacements I will get the strain values, I can get the stress values also. All right. So, what we are doing here is we are trying to derive the above strain values in terms of displacements. Please note it down. There is a small correction here at the end. This part, it is dou V by dou X plus dou U by dou Y. I forgot to mention dou U by dou Y, please. Please note it down. This is sigma x, that is dou U by dou X. Displacement in the direction, displacement or the strain in direction of X. Alright. And this is dou V by dou Y, that is strain in direction in the Y direction. Dou W by dou Z, strain in Z direction. For this one, please add dou U by dou Y.
కరెక్టే ఉంది కదా మ్యామ్.
లేదమ్మా, gamma, this one, last one, gamma xy. Okay, is it there? Okay, my screen is disturbing me, sorry. Yes, 1 2 3, right. Thank you Shirisha.
Ma'am, why we took in both the directions, ma'am?
Sorry, once again, please ask your question once again. Who is that?
Clear, ma'am. I have Shravanti.
Cheppamma.
Clear ayindi, ma'am.
All right. See, when it is direct normal strains, you are going to get the direct values of your displacements with respect to the direction. Whereas in it is the shear strains, you are going to have the combination of the opposite side. See, it is gamma YZ. When it is gamma YZ, in Y direction we have V, in Z direction we have W. So the differentiation of V would be with respect to Z, the opposite direction, and the differentiation of W would be with respect to Y. Alright, in that way we are going to write this. I hope you are clear with this.
Clear, ma'am. Now clear.
Now clear? Very great. You can't ask before. Alright, we are done with the equation. Let us take this equation as equation number 9, please. Sorry, equation number 8. Did you note down the equation, everyone? One yes, please.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll continue.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we are done with the stress equilibrium equations. That was point number 1. And point number 2, this equation number 8 is the strain displacement equation. Strain related to displacement. And previously we saw stress equilibrium equations. Now considering both aside, this is because if at all we have displacements and we have to find out strains, you can directly find out in this way. Alright, going forward, we have to find out the relation between stress and strain. This is what is very important, because when a element or when any structure is subjected to any load, it deforms or it get displaced. Upon that, it will have some strain, and ultimately it produces the stress constraint. All right. So to find out what all happens when the load is applied to it, we need what is the relation between the stress and strain. The basic unknown was displacement. If we are getting that, we are going to get strain. Now from strain, we are going for stress. For that, we need the relation between stress and strain. The basic thing, the basic law that relates us to the stress and strain directly is Hooke's law. Alright. For the linear elastic material, the stress strain relation comes from generalized Hooke's law. What do you think? What is this generalized Hooke's law? What is Hooke's law? Can anyone can you define what is stress Hooke's law?
Strain directly proportional to stress.
Aha, reverse it. Okay, good. Stress is directly proportional to strain under
Up to the elastic limit.
Elastic limit. All right, very good, very good. Now, there is something called generalized Hooke's law. Have you heard about this? Are you aware about generalized Hooke's law?
No, ma'am.
All right, generalized Hooke's law is relating the stress and the strains with these two terms. That is, relating the stress and strains or expressing the terms of stresses and the respective strains in terms of material properties. That is generalized Hooke's law. See, every material will have certain properties from which we can actually analyze it. So the basic material properties would be the material's Young's modulus and the material's Poisson's ratio. All right. So based on this, the equations are generalized. If we know it is only that stress is directly proportional to strain, which means you can also write it as sigma is equal to E into epsilon. All right. Now, if at all generalized Hooke's law have to come into picture, what we have various stresses. We saw normal stresses and we have shear stresses. All right. This figure I think we already saw, right? Now from that only, what we are trying to do is we are trying to withdraw the above cubical structure into generalized Hooke's law. All right. Considering the cubical elemental cube inside the inside the structure and applying the Hooke's law, this is the first equation. Strain in x direction is expressed in terms of stresses. This is the generalized Hooke's law form for the strain in x direction. With what? We are trying to consider the elemental properties E and mu. I think you have saw these equations already, but you don't know that this is the generalized Hooke's law. All right. What is this? I have strain in x direction. How is that related to? Normal stress in x direction with normal stress in y direction and normal stress in z direction. If at all, we just have to remember also in which specific direction we are taking, that specific direction will always be positive and there will not be the Poisson's ratio for that part. This is just to remember how the equation is formed, okay? Don't think that that is the actual way. This is how we can remember the equation. And other two directions whichever we have, other than the direction of consideration, that will have minus direction into mu. That is the only way you can remember. All right. Now, in this way, please write down the equations for strain in y direction and strain in z direction, please. Normal strains. You'll be reaching to this point if you understood what I said you. In the direction of the normal strain considered, minus mu will be multiplied for the normal stresses in the opposite direction and a positive normal stress in the direction of consideration. If we clearly see, when normal strain is taken into account, the whole equation is formed only in terms of normal stresses. That is what is generalized Hooke's law. You have to remember, when normal strains are taken into account, only normal stresses will come into the picture. All right. It obviously means that when shear stresses are taken into account, shear strains will come into the picture. All right. Are we done with these three equations? Are we done with these three equations?
Yes, ma'am.
Please clearly note down the equations, because now from these equations you are going to derive. All right. See, gamma yz, that is shear strain in terms of shear stress in yz direction, in xz direction, in xy direction. This we know clearly. Can anybody tell me what is G?
Rigidity modulus.
Very good. Let us take all these equations and give them the numbers like that. Equation number A, equation B, equation C, D, E and F, because you're going to solve those equations now. And please note down what is the relation between rigidity modulus and Young's modulus. Why are we trying to note down the relation between E and G? Because here in the generalized Hooke's law we saw that all the terms are derived in terms of Young's modulus and in terms of Poisson's ratio. All right. So if we have a relation between E and G in terms of E and mu, then that will be easy for us to solve all these equations. All right. Now, we are trying to find out the relation between stress and strain. We can see that clearly that stress and strain are related. Then why are we still trying to reduce it? Because here if we see, we are only able to see the relation between normal stresses to normal strains, normal shear stresses to shear strains. All right. We want a combined relation between the whole structure, because it is not like structure will always have only shear stresses or only normal stresses. So we need a combined combination of that. Are we done till now? Are you ready with all the 6 equations and the relation between G and E?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone? I need at least 2 S's now.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now we'll perform. Now to obtain the stress strain relationship, the above equations are to be solved. Now see, it is not like whatever the way I am showing here is the only way to solve the equations. This is just one easy way to solve it. You can make any of the operations you want. Okay, however you want to solve it, you can solve. But this is one type of operations that I am taking into consideration. All right. First operation, equation A minus equation B. That's the operation. You do it and you have to tell me the final value what you get. Start solving. Start doing it. We have equation A to E in the previous case. What you should do is, first operation is equation A minus equation B. That is why writing down all the 6 equations is very, very important. So taking equation A and equation B, the output what we are going to get will be like this. We will get a combined equation in terms of normal stresses in X and Y direction. Let me know if you got the same answer.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, one yes, very good. Any more?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll go for the second operation now. Second operation is we will try to relate. Oh, I'm very sorry. Just give me a little time. That is actually equation A plus mu into equation C. Right. Equation A plus mu into equation C. Here we are trying to relate normal stress in x direction with normal stress in z direction. That's the second operation. Please try to solve it. You will be reaching to this point. By taking this operation in the second one, what we tried is to eliminate the stress term in z direction and get an equation in terms of normal stresses in x and y direction only. That is why we took equation A plus mu into equation C. Did we reach here? You have to basically. You're taking long, guys.
Yes, ma'am.
You reached here?
Yes,
Good,
ma'am.
good. You're taking long. No, some people will start sleeping, I guess. Please do it fast. Now what we have? We have two equations. We have two equations in terms of normal stresses in x direction, normal stresses in y direction. Simple equation like I have an xy in one equation, xy in other equation. So what will I do? I will have to solve these two equations. All right. For that, final operation is like this. This is whatever equation we got here. Equation number 1. Equation number 1. The output of equation number 1 should be multiplied by minus mu, and that has to be added to your output of equation number 2. That is your final operation, what you should do. Please do it fast. Output of equation number 1 multiplied by minus mu and to be added to equation number output of equation number 2. That will give you the complete x terms, normal stress term in terms of strains in all the other three directions. Are you people doing or you slept?
Doing.
Doing? Good. this will be the output if you completely solve it. The operation, the last operation of this derivation will bring you to this point. Normal stress in x direction in terms of normal strains in all the three directions of the elemental cube. Please let me know if at least one person reached to this point. If one person can reach, it will not be difficult for the other people to go to get the answer. Do not elaborate the whole brackets, please. You try to keep it as it is and take the common terms, then that will be easy for you to reach to the solution. If you keep elaborating the whole brackets and then trying to take again the common terms, 2-3 pages will also not be enough. Any one person who reached here? Guys, please respond. Please do not respond me in chat. When I share the screen, I cannot come back and look into the chat. So you should be able to unmute yourself and speak. Still taking so long. Any one person? All right, let's not waste more time. Okay, you took long enough. Please note down the equation. Please note down the equation. I'm going to go for the forward. I'm forward slide now. Are you able to listen to me? Anyone, please respond.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let us continue. Please note down the equation. See, this is becoming funny now. When I ask you, are you able to reach to the solution? None of you are responding. And when my question is, am I audible? Everybody is telling yes, ma'am. Now, the output was normal stress in x direction is expressed in terms of normal strains in all the three directions. To reach this point, the reason is when we have our basic unknown displacement is derived. All right, we have a direct relationship between displacement to strains. All right, when we get the displacements, we will get the strains in the respective directions all the time. So if at all we have the equations of stresses in terms of strains in all the directions, reaching to the solution will become easy rather than keep on applying stresses in all the cases. For what was the generalized Hooke's law? Stress directly related to stresses. Now what we got? Stress directly related to strains. This is the stress strain relation equations for what we are trying to derive. All right, this was in the x direction. For what operations we did, This was in the x direction. Now same operations if we try for the others also, we are going to reach to the similar direction. See, as of in the previous case, I'll try to give you the hint. Wherever the consideration of direction is there, here it is x direction. For that respective normal strain, we will have the multiplication of 1 minus mu. For the other two directions, we are going to have mu only. It is just the point to remember, okay? Don't think that madam have given you a shortcut and that you can follow. All right. So in such a way, now this would be the equation in y direction and this would be the equation in z direction. Please note it down. Are you people there?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
I'm getting confused. See, so much of silence, you know, whether you're getting the equation or not, or you slept, you just left the phone idle. I'm seriously confused. See, today you have to bear with this because this derivation is very important. So I'm taking enough time. All right. All right. Are we done with the equations? 3. These are all
No.
direct
No.
shears. All right. The slide will be there. Don't worry. These are all the relations of direct shear stresses with the direct normal stresses with the direct normal strains. Now, we don't have to do operations for the other 3. Whatever the equation D, equation E and equation F, because that they are directly related, shear stress to shear strain with respect to rigidity modulus only. Because we have the rigidity modulus in terms of Young's modulus and mu, we can directly take that into account. See, tau xy can be written as E by 2 into 1 plus mu into gamma xy. That is shear stress in xy direction related to shear strain in xy direction. Similarly, in yz direction, similarly in zx direction. Please write down all the equations. All 6 are very important. And please remember the relation between stress and strain is important question if at all you are going to have your written exams. Not choices, but if at all you are going to have your mid exam or the final exam, this derivation is a compulsory question. Relation between stress and strain. When the relation is asked between the stress and strain as a question, remember that you have to first mention the stress equilibrium equations, the strain displacement relation, and then come to this equation. All right, are we done? Can I go forward with the slide? Any
Yes,
2
ma'am.
yeses, please? Okay, I got one. One more.
Yes, ma'am.
All right,
ma'am.
very good. Now, this is the equation form. All right, but as I said you, our FEM, we are trying to consider the matrix form. So what we'll do is, we will rewrite all the 6 in terms of in a matrix form. So what would be the order of the matrix we'll get? 6 equations. So what is the order of the equation we'll get? Guys, when you have to answer, you will not be there. See, we have
3 by 3 matrix.
No, we have 6 equations, 6 stresses and 6 strains. Then how will it be 3 by 3?
6 by 6. No.
Exactly, it will be 6 by 6. See, 6 stresses with 6 strains. We have 6 equations. All the hints are in front of you. This will be the final equation. See, all these terms, whatever we wrote, this is the final relation between stress to the strain when taken in terms of matrix. All right. See, all these zeros what you find here, because sigma x doesn't have shear strain terms. That is why zeros. And this part is, we are going to get this as symmetry. Whatever you have in this direction will be the same in the opposite direction. All right. You can either mention all the zeros or mu here, or directly write this as the equation. Anything you can do, but note down the whole matrix please as it is. Now, why is this matrix so much insisted is, sorry, because this matrix is called constitutive relative matrix, because it is relating the whole stresses in the body with the whole strains in the body. All right. So, direct relation between stress and strain is completely explained with one matrix. So, that is why we are calling this matrix as constitutive relative matrix. When bit questions are asked, this question would be compulsory. You might have to remember this. Constitutive relative matrix denoted by D. Many textbooks denote this by D. There are some textbooks which directly take notation as C. All right. Because it is called constitutive relative matrix, taking the name as C also not an issue. All right. So, I can reduce this equation as sigma is equal to D into E. Is this equation relating closely to any of the equation? Guys?
Young's modulus, ma'am. Stress by strain is equals to Young's modulus.
Exactly. Sigma is equal to E into epsilon is what the Hooke's law tells us. When it is about this one, if you have to remember, the D, the constitutive relative matrix, is actually indicating the E value in the Hooke's law. We took the generalized Hooke's law, we solved it, we reduced it, and we reached to this point. So, this also, this D again is in terms of E and mu only. All right. So, the final equation what we get here is sigma is equal to D into epsilon. Are we done with the matrix? Are we done with the matrix?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good, very good. Now, this was for the 3D constitutive relative matrix for a 3-dimensional elemental cube. I already said you the point to go for the 3-dimensional was it would be easy for us to reduce to 2-dimensional and 1-dimensional. All right. Now, we will try to see the special case. What is the special cases? In special cases, we have 1-dimensional. In 1-dimensional, it is not like you will have all the shear stresses, shear strains or all those things. Directly what we are going to have is normal stress and the normal strain. Because in the first class itself, I mentioned it to you that in 1-dimensional, the force will be applied along in one x direction only. X direction indicates axially, whether it is a horizontal member, it is a vertical member or an inclined member. When the force is applied axially, for that constraint we are taking on a 1-dimensional member. That force is applied only axially. So, in that case, you are not going to get any shear stress or shear strain constraint, nothing. Normal stress in x direction, only 1 sigma and only 1 epsilon. So, the direct relation is from Hooke's law itself. That is, sigma is equal to E into epsilon. That is in 1-dimensional case. Now, when it comes to 2-dimensional, we have 2 different cases. One is plane stress and the other one is plane strain. I want one member to tell me what is plane stress and one member to tell me what is plane strain. You have to put your hand up. I'll call you and then you can answer. One member, raise your hand. What is plane stress and what is plane strain? Principal stresses and strains are over for you. You just cannot tell you don't know what is plane stress or what is plane strain. None of you is raising your hand. Keep your hand raised.
When the stress vector is 0, then we will say it as a plane stress.
Stress vector is 0 in which direction? Who is talking, by the way? You did not even raise your hand. Who is this? Shravanti, is it you? Yeah. All right. You. Okay. In which direction when the stress can be considered as 0?
Normal.
Normal to the axis, ma'am.
Good. Okay. Mustafa raised your hand. Okay. She said already about the shear stress. So you tell about shear strain now.
Strain vector is 0 in the direction of normally.
Normal what? Huh? Okay. We'll look into it. But what you said is good. It's right also. All right. Now because we are trying to consider the 3D element and reducing it to the 2D constraint, we will have two categories. Plane stress. Now because from the constitutive matrix we are trying to reduce, what all terms that are present in constitutive matrix will become 0, we have to look into picture. All right. First one is plane stress. See, plane stress, it may not be the z direction only, but because when it is about 2-dimensional, we will have only x and y. So I'm trying to think that the z direction is eliminated. All right. If at all this constraint is there, I am only going to have normal stresses in x direction, normal stresses in y direction, and the respective shear stresses also. It means that the normal stress and the shear stresses in along the z direction, whichever comes, sigma z, tau yz, tau xz, the other 3 components will become 0. All right. This constraint is called plane stress. Now, if this constraint is there, we have to go back to our generalized Hooke's law to derive again. What does it become? Our generalized Hooke's law will become in this constraint. That is, epsilon x will be only in terms of x and y, and epsilon y only in terms of x and y. So as of in the previous case, you don't have to do all the 3 operations. Only one operation will give you the answer here directly. Will you try solving it? Try to solve. Only one operation is enough now. You just have to solve sigma x and epsilon x and epsilon y. By multiplying mu to any of the one, you can eliminate the other equation, other stress. So you can find out. So what we can do? Epsilon x plus, I will try to eliminate the y term. Is it? We'll see. Into mu into epsilon y. Try giving this operation. You might get an answer. See, if I'm asking you to solve, you're taking very long, guys. And however, the gamma, now tau yz will not be there in the picture, tau xz will not be there in the picture. Only the stress what you have is your tau xy. So tau xy will be directly related to gamma xy in terms of G. So with these three equations, when you solve and try to find out the relation and you reduce it to matrix form, this is the matrix you get. It's a little bit blur. Yeah. Are you able to see? Are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yes.
Can you go to the last slide, ma'am, once?
Okay.
Okay.
Any
ma'am.
doubt or you did not note it down?
I did not note. Ma'am.
Okay, okay. Let me know when you're done, please.
Done. Done, ma'am.
Okay. Now this is the constitutive relative matrix for a plane stress. This is the D matrix for plane stress. All right. Did you note it down, please? When it is only 3 stresses and 3 strains, now we are going to get a 3 by 3 matrix. All right. When it is what about a 3D, we are going to get 6 by 6 matrix. All right. Are we clear with this? You can note it down that this is called the D matrix for plane stress. This is because the reason why we are noting this down is questions will be asked like solve for D matrix or derive D matrix for sigma x is equal to so and so, sigma y is equal to so and so, epsilon x is equal to so and so. Like that it will be given. You have to derive D matrix. Or the D matrix E value, mu value will be given. Some terms of stresses or some terms of strains will be given and you will be asked the solution. So you should be able to remember what is the D matrix. Then only you will be able to solve it. All right. Now this is the D matrix for plane stress constraint. Now when we go for plane strain, we saw the strain in the longitudinal strain in the z direction, that is still I am considering the z direction to be 0. All right. See, epsilon z, gamma yz, gamma zx. All the 3 strains possibly comes in z direction are considered as 0. Any practical example you can think of where you can get a plane strain? Any practical example? Because we are thinking we have plane stress, we have plane strain, but where exactly does these plane stress or plane strain come into picture? That also we should know. All right. Plane strain. Suppose we have a pipe. What is plane strain when we are considering the pipe is in any 2 directions only you can find the strain possibilities. That is what we are considering that as plane strain. Water flows in the lateral direction, you can see the stress constraints, whereas in the longitudinal it is you cannot find it. All right. The other example what you can take is for a gravity dam, the same possibility, where in one direction you cannot find any strain, where in the other 2 directions. That is simple. If at all plane strain has to be mentioned, the lateral strains are possible and the longitudinal strain are not possible. All right. Such constraints we are calling it as plane strain. It can be a pipe, it can be a gravity dam. All right. Other constraints, retaining wall. All these things come under examples of plane strains. Okay. Now this plane strain, when we derive, this is going to be our constitutive relative matrix for a plane strain problem, where you have, if you remember from this 3D 3-dimensional 6 by 6 matrix, the only thing is you are just going to take the starting terms like that. 3 terms directly taken from your 3-dimensional. Somebody have kept their mic unmute. I'm getting the echo. Guys, somebody kept your mic open. All right. Are we clear with this part till now? Any doubts so far? Any doubts so far? Guys, I need the answer.
No, ma'am.
No doubts? All right. Rather than going for the next topic, what we'll do is, what all we have seen till now. 307. Shravanti, I cannot come back to chat, so please don't write in the chat. You can talk. All right? Fine. See, because we are done with this, for the stiffness matrix, we'll see in the next class. But whatever we learned till now, we'll take a small exam for that. All right? Forms. I'll share a form with you.
Ma'am, can you please keep the slide of plane stress matrix?
Plane stress matrix? Okay.
Yes.
This is the slide for plane stress. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. I'm sharing you a form. Okay. In the charts, I'm sharing a form with you. Start giving answers, and I'm sorry for the previous time that in previous forms there was a setting issue and all your names have come as anonymous. All right. This time I have specifically mentioned that I need with the names. So this time when you answer me, I will get with the names what answers you have given me. All right. Start filling the form. What all we have learned till now, nothing from outside. What all we have learned in the presentation, whatever is there, based on that only you have that form. All right. Start giving the answers. I'm taking the responses. I'm giving you time till 11. 11:05 I'll give, because class is till 11:10. So I'll give you time till 11:05 to give me the responses. 11:09 I'll make it. So if until 11:09 I can receive I'll be receiving the answers. Meanwhile, if at all you have any doubts, you can come forward and ask. Anyone needs any slide to be projected? Anyone needs any slide to be projected? I hope none of you are sleeping. All right. I stopped sharing my screen.
Ma'am, when I have tried to fill up my form, it is showing like login into that. But actually, I don't have that password and ID. So
What is your number?
16090, ma'am. 2090.
2090. Which series is yours?
32090, like 17 series.
17 series only. You don't have your user ID and password?
I have it, but it's showing like when I tap on the link, it's showing
Yes.
like sign in first.
Yeah, you have to. Because signing into Teams is different, signing into Office 365 is different. If at all you have to fill the form, you have to sign into Office 365 in the
But
browser.
I'm
So
not having that password right now. I lost it, ma'am.
how did you get into Teams?
Ma'am, when I got into the Teams, I'm having that, but I'm not having right now. I lost it. I lost it in my chats, group chats.
Group chats. Okay. If at all I give the permission that other than the organization people, if they have to fill the form, then I won't get the names of the students who are submitting it. That's the issue. You need to recover your password as soon as possible.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Okay, then only I can actually I cannot allow, because everybody from the organization now, actually even the readmission people got their user ID and password, so I cannot give permission that anyone else can fill the form. I hope you understand my constraint.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Okay, you get the password in the next class. Your number is
2090, ma'am.
2090. All right, I'll note it down. This is just to see how attentive you people were there in the class. That's okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. Others? Oh, zero responses, guys. Time is getting over.
మ్యామ్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్స్ రాయడానికి వస్తలేదు.
ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్స్ అడిగానా తల్లి? ఏ క్వశ్చన్ చెప్పండి?
ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ ట్రైన్ ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ డిస్ప్లేస్మెంట్.
అవును, అలాంటప్పుడు మీ ఆన్సర్ ఏమొస్తుంది?
అంటే ఈక్వేషన్ వస్తుంది.
డిఫరెన్షియేషన్ ఆఫ్ డిస్ప్లేస్మెంట్ ఇన్ ఎక్స్ డైరెక్షన్. అట్లా రాయండి.
ఓకే ఓకే థ్యాంక్స్.
Alright, hope you understood how the class went right till now. I need the response from somebody, please.
Ma'am, can I see the slideshow of special cases once?
Alright, I have to start sharing again. Okay. Special cases. Right. You're able to see? You have to note it down, or you have any doubt?
No, ma'am. I was just about to note it, but you changed it. Thank
See
you.
the special cases. I kept the slide, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I took a pic of it.
Okay, screenshots.
Yeah,
Good.
Express the shear strain in YZ plane.
Oh, who's that?
Sorry.
I'm not getting the responses yet, and your time is getting over, guys. Alright, what I'll do now, I'll stop the recording because our class is already over. You're just trying to see the forms. I mean, fill the forms, or I'll better keep. Okay. And please, everybody, listen to me once. Yes, I got 4 responses. For the next class, from your TOS 2, or you may have in the previous classes also, please brush yourselves up with stiffness matrix concept. All right, in the next coming classes, we are going to derive stiffness matrix for various elements. So have that knowledge of stiffness matrix. What is stiffness matrix? How was it derived? Or what is the main concept of that? You just brush yourselves and come with that. Alright. However, I'll tell, but that doesn't mean it will completely be on my side itself to give you the complete concept of stiffness matrix. Because it is already over in TOS 2, you should be knowing it a little. Alright. And fill the forms. I am offing the recording for today.